Okay, so this is Unit 4, and in Unit 4 we are talking about decimals. Okay, so the first thing about decimals is place value. Okay, so let's put our decimal there. Now, let's say the ones is somewhere over in here. Okay, so this here is the tenths. Now there's a THS at the end of all decimal place values. Okay, so this is the tenths. Now, this is the hundredths. And this guy all the way over here is the thousandths. Okay, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Remember, there's always a THS on the end. Okay, so let's try adding some decimals. Okay? The most important thing about adding and subtracting decimals is lining up the decimals. Okay, line up your decimals. Never forget it. Okay, so let's try adding some decimals. 5 plus 2 equals 7. 4 plus 3 equals 7. Add your decimal. And 0 plus 0 equals 0. Okay, so now, since we got a decimal of our own, let's practice saying decimals. Okay, so we say 0 point, we say decimals as 0.77 or 77. Okay, so let's try subtracting some decimals now. Don't forget to line them up. Okay, always line up your decimals. Okay, so 8 minus 2 equals 6. 8 minus 7 equals 1. Decimal. 0 minus 0 equals 0.
Interrupt this broadcast for an important message.
Pete, reporting from the CCES Elementary School. I'm going to be interviewing Luke. So, Luke, what is the most important thing about adding and subtracting decimals?
You line up your decimals.
Okay, good. How do you compare decimals?
Go from right to left and compare place values.
Okay, thank you, Luke. Pete, signing out. To regularly scheduled programming. Okay, guys, did you hear Luke? Listen to Luke. What he said is extremely correct about decimals. Okay, so like Luke said, let's practice comparing some decimals. Okay? Let's listen to Luke and go right to left. Okay? So 0. Neither one of those are bigger. Okay? Now let's look in the tenths place. 7 versus 6. 7 is bigger. Okay? So, let's do this. 0.73 is greater than 0.67. Okay, now we're going to practice base tens compared to decimals. Okay, so we call this a big cube. 1 big cube is equal to 1. We call this a flat. 1 flat is equal to 1/10. This is a long. I know it looks like the number 1, but it's a long. 1 long is equal to 1/100th. This thing here, sometimes when it's wrote in problems, looks like a little dot, but it's actually supposed to be a square. We call it a cube. 1 cube is equal to 1,000. Okay, so let's try one for ourselves. Are there any big cubes? I don't see any, so that's 0. There's 1 flat here, 3 longs, so 3, and 5 little cubes. So this number is 0 and 135,000th. That's how we read this number. Let's try another one. I see 1 big cube. Now, are there any flats? Nope. Now, let's count the longs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 longs and 1 tiny cube. So this is 1 and 61 thousandths. The end. And always remember, line up your decimal. Look below for a problem that you can do.